Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our series where we look at the Python certification course and what's on the test, what is on the syllabus, and we're going to walk through examples of all of the stuff that's out there. This episode, we're going to start, we'll see how far we can get. This may be a multi-episode one. Probably will, because we're going to talk about strings. Really taking another step into its strings in detail. So we've touched on them a little bit. We're going to talk about some of the functions related to them and manipulating working strings and just getting into all the little bits and pieces of it. So first off, we're just going to go with this. We're going to start from our simple one here. So it's simple string output. And we've seen where we can print that out to the screen. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at upper. And upper will convert everything to uppercase. So we can see here, that's that. And let me just do, whoops. I'm going to do it like that. And so now let's, yeah, that's pretty good. So now let's take the same thing. Whoop. And of course, where there's an upper, there is a lower. And note that in both of these, that we had a mixed case here. So we have a capital T, and then everything else is lowercase. Here, everything's uppercase. With lower, everything's lowercase. Now, pretty straightforward. Now, what we can do is, let's do, whoop. There's a bunch that we can do here. So we can say like is lower. Let's start with that. Let's say if it's a digit. And there's a bunch of useful things here. But we can also say, is it alpha? Is alpha. And let's go is, I'll do one more with this. I think it's alpha-num. Is that how it? If we look here, is al-num. Okay, al-num. So let's look at those. Whoops. Okay. Based on this string again. And so if we look, this guy, it's not a digit because there's not even digits in there. It's not alpha, and it's not an alphanumeric. So all of those are going to come back false. If we do, let's see. Did we do we can do an is lower. Let's do that real quick. So if we do is lower, we're going to see that even though there are lower, we'll see that even though it's false because we have, this is what we're working with, so we've got that. But if we were to do is lower x dot lower dot is lower, then it's going to come back true because we did do that. Now, if it's digits, let's do y equals 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's look at that. And let's actually do that for each of these. So is a digit, is alpha, and is if we look at those, we're going to see that. So digit, it is true, but the alpha, but is all num, it's going to be true. But now if I mix, let me get a z, so I can get an alpha numeric. And notice that you have to, alphanumeric it has to be both alpha characters, A through Z basically, and a numeric. And so we're going to see here if we want to do is alpha, just we'll do Z. Then we'll see, oh, that's saying it's not alpha either. Interesting. So if we look at that, so that's alphanumeric. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Is alpha, if it's an alphabetic string, if all characters in a string are alphabetic, I'm sorry. That's the problem, is alphabetic has to be no spaces. Because we have spaces here, it's not pure letters. Now Z is going to be true. There we go. So alpha, so I forgot about it. So this is, so is alnum is going to be where if you have a mix of numbers and letters. So if they are alphanumeric and there's at least one character in the string. So you're also going to get, it's probably worth noting that if I do A equals empty, then is alpha is going to be false. And so is actually, so is alnum, whoops. It's also A, and so we're going to see the last of those two are still going to be false because if it's empty, it's not, it doesn't know what it is. So it has to be, actually, it has to fall under, be a valid digit alphas, string of alphas, or alphanumeric. And so, yeah, and so then this would be our alnum, right? No, that's our alnum. Which one was our alnum? So the one that's true is Y. Oh, which is probably still going to be, if we do this, yeah. So it doesn't have to have both an alpha and a num. But if we put a space in there, then it's false. Because it's got to be, you can't have spaces or special characters, basically is what we're looking for there. So let's do one other. Let's do, let's see, what do we want to do with this one? Let's see if we find one more is maybe that we haven't looked at. Is printable is a neat one. Is printable, and if we look at X, it's going to come back and it's going to say it's true. But if we do this, now it's false because it's got a non-printing character in it. And you can see here now when we added it, that input before, note, it printed here and then just went to the next line. But here it's actually putting that little line break, which is a non-printing character. So now it's not printable. So let's just do X and X2. And we'll keep that for posterity's sake. So let's look at another. Let's look, oh, capitalize. So let's take, let's take a look at this. And a lot of these are useful. You find cap. All right, I didn't spell capitalize right. Let me just do it this way because I had a brain fart. So a lot of these you're going to actually find are very useful for checking for validations and stuff like that. I go to capitalize. So now it's just capitalizing the first. Let me do. Let me do X3 equals Bob Jones. Oh, and let's see what happens when it capitalizes that. So it's now all lowercase, and you see that it just capitalizes the first letter. So that's pretty, it's like upper, but only the first character. Now, one that's useful is split. that is used a lot. So let's make this, this can be my string equals, today is hot, clear, windy. And so now I can take that, where's that? My string, right? Yeah. So if I do my string dot split, I know this is going to get a separator. So now if I take that, I do a separator, which is going to be commas, and now I'm going to do result equals that, and then print result. Let's see what that gives us. So now we're going to see here is that, let me just print it beforehand. My string. And note that it's, actually I'm going to put it right after here. So note that my string's printing here because it's not changing it. It's kicking that result back out. And the result is that it splits this into 3 items on the comma. So today is hot. It takes everything before the first comma, clear, everything before the second comma, and then windy is everything after that last comma. So I could change that if I wanted to. I can make it a pipe. And if you note before, it's not trimming it. So you can see here there's a space here because it was comma space. Now, if I remove the spaces and I do a split, go here and I do a split, here we see it's those spaces that I removed from the string, those are not showing up anymore. So it does today is hot, you see right here, clear, you see here, windy, you see here. And I can print that out. That's just a straight up array. So I can do print result. Let's do 2. And actually, let's do one more thing. And let's take result.split on space. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not. That's, I want result 0. So now we're going to see that we come in, we split it, and note that we did item 2. So this is an index into array. It starts at 0. So that's going to give us windy. We see that. And then what I did is I turned around and took this. I said, okay, we'll split that on spaces, and you'll see that this today is hot. Now the same kind of thing, somewhat, is we can take my array equals, let's see, and I don't think we've seen this before, so I do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, H, and then I do print my array dot join. Oh, sorry, that's not what I want. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else. Instead, what I'm going to do is let me go back from here, and now let's put something back together. So now let's do print results 1 dot join with results 2. And we're going to see here, he's going to take result 1, which is clear, and it's going to join it on result 2, which is windy. And you can see where it's going to, it takes windy. Gosh, this is going to be harder to see. Let me do it this way. because it's sort of hard to see it with something that big. So let me take this. Let's do, so M equals O. This will be easier to see. And N equals X. Actually, let's do OO and XX. And then let's do print m.join in. And now we're going to see, so the first one, the string M here, we're going to join in the parameter. So you'll see here that XXX of the join is it's going to take each character of that and it's going to split it across those. So N basically is shoving O into each, or M into each of those. So similar kind of thing. This is a little bit funky to see. So let me do Q and R. And so now let's make it O and X. And let's do O.join. Oh, wait. We'll keep the M's. And we're going to do this both ways so you can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to do Q join R. And R join Q. And let's print print R, print Q. And then just to make it a little easier to read, and let's do one more. Because join basically iterates across one into another. So if we look at our R's, R was first. So this is R, and this is Q. So if we do R joins Q, we're going to see that there's no, you can't shove anything in between these. There's nothing, there's only one character. So if you join with a single character string, you're going to get just the single character string. Otherwise, what it's going to do is it's going to try, so here, Q join R, it's going to go to each one of these and try to insert the second string. So that's where I get X, and then I get an O, I get X, I get an O, I get X, and then I get an O, and then it ends. So if I wanted to do, if that becomes OP, then I'm going to see XOP, OP, OP. See how that works? And there's some ways that, again, if you want to play around with strings, there's definitely a lot of power that is built in. I'll probably hit on a few more, but for right now, I think that'll cover this one, this episode, this session, and we'll come back and do some more strings next time around. But as always, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.